There we go. All right, so what's going on, guys? We're going to do something a little bit different today. Hope you guys can hear me clearly. Let me turn this up a little bit. Sorry about that at the beginning, y'all. Just got to make sure y'all can hear me and everything like that. So as y'all join in and everything like that, I'm going to be cooking. Also, thank you to Miss Foster once again. She made sure this feast that I'm about to have, because, sometimes you got limited options. So if you're wondering what this is, some of y'all know this is a pork shoulder, aka PERNIL. Okay, so this is, I guess you could say it's a Latino dish most, most of the time. Huh? We'll say that. I learned how to cook this a long time ago. I don't like the skin that much, so what I do is, and plus it stops a lot of the meat, in my opinion, for getting that extra flavor. So what I do is I cut the skin off. I'm not a big fan of skin on any type of animal, even chicken. I usually boil the chicken. I know it sounds weird, but try it. It tastes very good. Entonces sabe la sabor latino. So as I'm doing this, you guys stay with me and you'll see how to prepare this. And we're going to have a little talk. Also, guys, make sure you hit up the Cash App, $ STRINGERBELL80. This freaking what's the name is tough on here, guys. Let me tell you, it is really tough, tougher than usual. But we're gonna get it. So what I wanted to start at was with YNW MELLY. That's always a mouthful to say. But anyway, Jamel Demons, better known to the courtroom as, has been declared a mistrial. A mistrial. Now, I know a particular blog yesterday that said he thought the same thing. It was going to be a mistrial, and he was correct and right. So shout out to Troy Terrain. Once again, a Taurus just like myself, for coming and bringing what we would call trajectory in this situation. So YNW MELLY, now I'm not sure if he's going to be set free. I know, and this may shock a lot of y'all, because a lot of y'all are not adding this into the conversation, but Mr. Demons is going to be up for retrial. Yes, that's his real name, Jamel Demons, being accused of killing 2 of his friends. Now, a lot of people asked me the question, and I saw a few videos. I saw one video that kind of disturbed me, which many of y'all either act like y'all haven't seen or haven't seen at all. And in that video, Mr. Demons is seemingly the day after his friends are found murdered. He's dancing and moving around in the camera and doing all kinds of smiling and everything. It's very disturbing. And I saw that video earlier, and weirdly and oddly enough, has been able to be left here on YouTube. But what I'll do later on is, I'll make sure, I don't think I'm going to get all this skin off. We're just going to get the meat exposed. That's on my own big thing right there. So make sure everything gets saturated. I don't want one part of the meat tasting like something else. You know what I mean? It's kind of disgusting that way. But anyway, to let you down. Mr. Demons, I don't know if he'll be let out of jail or he'll be in a situation where he can get a bond. Now, according to what court reporters say and people here and there and everywhere, whoever you choose to believe, Mr. Demons will be tried again. They lucked in a mistrial because I'm believing they couldn't come up with a verdict or were undecisive in their verdict based on the evidence that was presented to them. Now, his one of his other friends decided, which many people are saying it like this, I don't know if it's exactly like this, but many people are saying he decided not to snitch on him. And I said, hey, I guess that's a good thing. I don't know, But does that mean you're guilty? Now, many people had asked me my opinion on this before. As you can see by my list of videos, I stayed away from this because I know how trials go, and they can surprise you at the end. What you think might have happened ain't what's going to happen. So I waited, just like many of y'all did, and was surprised that they were convening on Saturday in the courtroom, because usually they don't, especially in the state of Florida. Oh, Florida. I can't stand the place anymore. So when y'all hear me say sarcastic things about Miami or just Florida in general, I'm saying it from experience. All right, I'm not dissing it just to be dissing it, but this is where this young man was tried at, and this is where he resides at in Florida. Now, where he lives at is I mean, it's basically Miami. I mean, it's not far from Miami. Well, I mean, what is that, Miami Gardens or whatever? You know, this kid, who's very young, had a song out called Murder on My Mind. In fact, Kanye West, I hate to put Kanye's name into it, had something to do other than the remix or the instrumentation, something there. Kanye had something to do with it. I remember seeing it. And so it led me to this. I said, this kid, if he's not guilty, he looks guilty. He looks very guilty. And if you need a recap of what happened, basically, one half is saying that Mr. Demons somehow or another set up his two friends, and I don't know exactly what accord, but he set up his two friends, and his two friends subsequently, somehow or another, ended up in the trunk of a car. Now, they say that these friends ended up in the trunk of a car, and I'm going to take a break here in a second because I want to tell you guys something. They say that his friends ended up in the trunk of a car based on the fact that, and what they predict is, somehow or another, this guy killed them somewhere else, drove them out to the Everglades, where Florida is filled up on everywhere you go, especially in that area, Miami-Dade. And subsequently, him and someone else, or maybe him by himself, they haven't said, shot up the car and made it appear like it was a drive-by shooting. Therefore, after that, they drive to the hospital. The bodies are in the trunk, and some would say they pretended to be hysterical. Now, I don't know if that's the truth or not. I wasn't there. Neither were you. But a lot of people come to different conclusions. Do I believe this young man did this? Well, I say this. Your last name being Demons, let's start there. It doesn't help. The fact that you have other videos that allude, in particular, one song that you have out called Murder on My Mind, which, yeah, it was a hit. I don't know why, but it was a hit. But at the same time, and I listened to this song several times now, and I tried to see if it had a double entendre, like he meant like, yo, I'm murdering these MCs or what. No, he meant, in my opinion, exactly what he was saying in that song and applied in that song. Now, does that make him a horrible person? Not necessarily. Does that make him a murderer? Not necessarily. We've seen this before. Now, the problem I have is you're not able to answer for that missing time that you had there, pal. And the coroner and what you say don't match up. Now, like I said, I'm not judging this young man because I don't think that's my job to do. But I am evaluating what I see. And what I see and what I think I see is a young man that lucked out. He lucked out here. Now, will he be able, once again, and I'm going to look at the screen in a second, y'all. So if y'all writing comments, go ahead and write them. Make sure to hit up the Cash App, $STRINGER. Once again, thank you, Miss Foster. This is what I bought, so this should last me about 2 days. I ain't no way I'm going to eat a whole pernil. It might even last 3 days. You ain't going to eat a whole pernil in 1 day. Trust me, this is a lot of freaking guy right here. Pause. But anyway, and don't y'all be judging me or whatever. This is my culture. Fuck. Anyway, listen. My point is this. I don't know if this kid did this or not. I would hope that he didn't. There's more stuff alluding to that he did than he didn't. I will say that. And who am I to judge? You know, that's all I got to say about that one. Who's in here? What's going on, guys? Hey, sitting here cooking, man. Y'all make sure y'all rock with me for a minute. I'm going to show y'all what I'm doing, what I can't do. You know what I mean? We're going to ultimately, and I'm going to segue for a second. Guys, make sure you hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. I could definitely use our support this week. You know what I mean? I'm still back behind, and I made a big mistake by thinking that my subscribers will be fully with me. And I won't make that mistake again, you know. And I know some of you just can't do it, and I understand. You know, I'm not judging you. But for those that can and don't, yeah, we can't do that no more. And it's unfortunate because there's so many good people on this channel, really good people, that actually deserve to have that, and they can't have it anymore because of financially. So make sure that you guys support the channel today. Now, if you're wondering what I'm doing to this right now, I'm rubbing this down with oil, and particularly peanut oil. If you guys want to know, this is peanut oil. See? And I'm rubbing it down with this because it locks in all the moisture in this and it won't escape while it's slow cooking. And once again, if you're wondering what this is, in American terms, this would be pork shoulder, but la gente latino, tú sabes, esta pernil. So I'm just basting this baby up and doing that. Now, there's a whole bunch of things that's going to go on top of this or whatever. The first thing we're going to start with is, since it's acidic, we're going to start with the lime. It's best to do the lime first, and the reason I say that is because of pure simple fact. You're going to find that acidic tone will sit on top of this if you don't. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to poke the hell out this bastard. So we're going to poke the shit out of him. Excuse my French. We're going to poke him as much as we can. Just poke holes all in it. Everywhere you can go, just poke holes in it. See what I'm saying? Even under the underbelly of this slice. And this one's huge. You know what I mean? This one is so huge. So, hold on, let me turn this around. Hope you guys can see him with my hand out the way. You're just gonna poke this guy as much as you freaking can here. You know what I'm saying? Just poke him. Just poke the hell out of this thing. Now you guys understand why I cut some of that whistling back. Now what we're gonna do with this is, we're gonna actually fold this back over. You know what I mean? Many Dominicans, Cubans, y'all know what I'm talking about. But we gotta make sure that our pernil gets all the deserved attention. So once again, I'm poking holes all through this so you guys can see this on yourself on camera. And maybe you're gonna make one for yourself, you know? I don't know. This is a pretty heavy one right here too, so I gotta poke him a little extra. And you'll have a little blood here and there. There's no way really to get along away from that. But I think that should be enough. And once this is done, you'll notice with all this preliminary chopping that I'm doing right now, what's going to happen is this fucker's going to break right apart. Now, I'm going to do a couple of things here. Now, I want you guys to pay attention. Now, once I said, and I said this a few minutes ago, we're going to take not too much lime, a little bit of lime. Not enough that it'll overly, you know what I mean, capacitate this or anything like that, but just enough. And you're gonna rub that along in with that oil you got. Now this is acidic. So the reason I use peanut oil, because canola oil and what's the other one? I forgot what the other one is. But canola oil and vegetable oil, they're very susceptible, believe it or not, when it comes to acidic additives. And what happens is it kind of takes the taste away. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it interferes. And what happens is that oil that you intentionally put on there to keep kind of like the flavor in is now gone. Now, if you're wondering what this is right here, I'm doing this because this is so much easier to do it this way. But this is adobo. This is my favorite brand in particular, so this is the one I like. This is the one I always usually keep around the house and use. And the only thing we're going to do is rub that into there. And I'm going to get back to the topics and everything, guys, but I want you guys to see what I'm doing here. I'm going to give you some inspiration, make some of your own. And like I said, you're just going to massage that in there like that. Like I said, this is adobo. We're going to be light with the adobo because the pure simple fact we're adding other things. So the next thing that I'm adding, believe it or not, is this. Now you're saying, what? You wildin'? Trust me. And this particular brand, La Perfecto, okay? This is my particular one I like. A lot of Dominicans use this. A lot of Cubans use this. You won't find too many Puerto Ricans, and Mexicans use this, but you won't find too many Puerto Ricans using this, or people from other Latin American countries. They don't really use this stuff too much. But this is my favorite one because of the taste. So we're gonna rub this in a little bit more. You see this thing is starting to come brown. Don't be afraid to get into those holes that you poked. Pause. And, and get that oil saturated around there. Now, I'm also going to go to this side that I missed, and what you're seeing right there is the skin. I'm not one that's big on skin. Some people, they like to eat it You know, en tu abuela latino, tú sabes, ese tío. Tómela toda. You want the bones too? Well, give me the bones. I got somebody that I know very close to me that's like that. We don't do that. And what we're going to do is just add a little bit more here on the side or whatever. Rub that in or whatever. You're just going to rub it in as good as you can possibly, you know, and just make sure you can miss as very little as you can of the actual roast itself. After that, I'm going to throw a little bit more of this on the side here. I missed the spot right there and right there. Ooh, so I'm messing up. The next step, this is saison, okay? Saison. Ah, tú sabes, claro, gente latino. Say mucho, a lot. You want to throw a lot of this on there. Now this is basically this cinnamons and a couple other little different ingredients or whatever. That's really all it is. Cilantro, tasting things and stuff like that. That's why I threw the lime on there, because lime is reminiscent of cilantro. And if you don't have cilantro, you can use that. So, and as you see, it's starting to change color already. And that's the way it's supposed to look. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some regular salt. You don't need a lot of stuff for this. Like, you really don't. Just keep it very basic. Salt. I'm going to throw some pepper on here, but this is kosher salt in case you were. Excuse me, sea salt. I have kosher salt too, but this is sea salt. And we just throw this on there. Rocks up pretty soon. I don't put too much on there because adobo, sazon, and the other ingredients I put on top of here, they all already have salt added to them, so you don't want it to be too salty. You know what I mean? This is pork, so it's always going to be salty anyway. I'm just going to throw a little bit on there, just for good measure. Rub that in right there, some more, and as you can see, that's what your end product is supposed to look like. And you want to massage that in there, like I said, guys. Just massage that in there. Don't be scared to get your hands dirty. Massage it in the corners. Massage it in all those holes you poked. Just massage the hell out of it, you know. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is this. It's guacamole. Yeah, I know a few people, I can hear them already. Diablo, queso. Diablo. And what we're going to do is just take 1 tablespoon of this. Literally, don't put more than that. If you want to, you can, but just take 1 tablespoon of this, all right? And you're just going to pour that on like that, right? And what you're going to do after that is you're going to rub this down again. And this is going to work together with the lime. And I wish you could taste it, but you'll see what I mean. If you come through and get a plate or something, you know what I'm trying. Now people I know y'all asking already, well, where you going to put this at? We're putting it in a crock pot, which I'm going to show y'all that in a minute, because this is the best way, because we're going to slow roast this probably until tomorrow morning. So I'm going to do it on extra low, or you can put it on low. I wouldn't suggest you put this on high. You're not going to get the same results. You know what I'm saying? So don't put this on high if I were you. You can if you want to. I wouldn't. And once that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to fold the skin back over. As you can see, that's why I cut a slit in the skin. This is me cutting a slit in the skin had a double purpose. And what we're going to do is fold the skin back over. All right, like that. You see, I kept it on there, but it's cut. It's cut all the way through. So even the meat that's on the other side, it's going to get cooked, and that's what we want to make sure of. We don't want this meat to be like half prepared, and you know what I mean? Not have that really good taste. You know, so, and trust me, I've been doing this for a long time, so I know what I'm doing. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold that as much over as it can, because the position that this is going to be sitting in the crock pot, which you're going to see in a few seconds here, is going to keep all this flavor into this fucker. So I'm gonna, excuse me guys. I'm gonna grab my crock pot here, or the pot anyway. And what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna figure what side. I think this side would be the better side. We're gonna sit this in here. Now you guys can't see it, but what I just dropped was a little bit of water. You wanna make sure it's halfway covering it, because it's gonna evaporate, all right? So you don't want too much of that, you know, going on where it's like submerged in there, if you want to say. And I just throw a little pepper on here just for good measure. Some of the stuff I've already thrown in there has pepper on it already, so no worries. And since I have that other side, you guys can't see it, but since I have that other side of the skin pointed down, what I'm doing now is I'm putting this over here. So now, this is every bit of done, okay? Like, there's no more you need to do to this. If you were at home and you want to add a little bit of more, you know, I would tell a lot of people, just add it to the water, you know? Oh, one important thing. This is something else that I use. This is beef bouillon. On compris ma rôti en français, oui. Bouillon. And a lot of people, mostly like Caribbean countries like that are Dutch, things like that, they use this all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle this around the sides and in the water itself or whatever. This is all going to come together in consistency. You don't want to put everything, and like I said, I'm just being real light with this, if you guys can see. I'm not going to use a whole pack or anything like that. And that just soaks in and gives some extra flavor to that water that's sitting there that we just added it to. So that way the water actually has some type of broth or something like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pot, and you guys can't see it because it's off camera, but I'm going to sit this in here because we're not done. So give me a second. Let me wipe this off, clean this off, and I'll be right back with you as I'm doing that. I'm going to continue talking about Mr. Demons. So Mr. Demons, Jamel Demons to be exact, or the guy you know is YNW Melly. I don't know what to make of, and I want you guys' opinions on what you think of him. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to look at the screen because I'm interested. I want to know your opinions on it, what you think of it. Do you think he is the murderer? Do you think that the trial entering deadlock is circumstantial? I think it is. The jury couldn't come to a decision, and this, to be quite honest with you, this guy scares the shit out of me. Excuse me. That's all that stuff hit me back in my jaw. Pause. Let me see what you guys are talking about in there. What's going on, guys? Appreciate you tuning in with me. Like I said, let me share this too. Get some more people in here. I know it's Saturday night. Guys, make sure you hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. I want to give Miss Foster a shout for making this all possible tonight. It's like $20 to work with. It is so expensive at the grocery store nowadays. I swear to God. You cannot literally walk out the grocery store without spending at least $115 minimum. So people be thinking I'm bugging sometimes. I'm like, yo, have you been to the grocery store yet? Or do you pay attention when you go to the grocery store? You know what I mean? Because if you did, we wouldn't even be having these discussions. So guys, make sure you hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. I'm just doing a little something different for y'all. Go into my little bag here. I think I got another one. Yeah, I do. Good. So you guys already know what this is. This is red onion, like a staplet in most Caribbean households, especially if you're, you know, like my complexion, if you're from the Caribbean. We're just gonna cut this up. This is actually the skin of one, but it works the same as the onion itself. You just, you know, you can cut long strands of it. It doesn't really matter. The flavor's still gonna be the same. This one that I got, I didn't like this red onion too much. I don't know. There's a store near me that sells like oil stuff like this, and like it's just way better than where I picked this one up at. I will say that. Not saying that this one's bad or anything like that. I don't prefer it like I do my other ones. It's kind of like, it's like one of those kind of slimy ones. You know what I mean? If you know about red onions, you know what I'm talking about. But you want to cut up a lot of red onion stems. I'm going to cut one more. There's a whole half right here. That should be sufficient enough. I know people be making fun of me.
Well, you sound so American. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hold on 1 second, guys. I want to cut my hand up here. We're going to talk some more about Jamel Demons. Uh-oh, one got away. One got away. Fucker. So we're going to cut this up right here. get this done. This should just take another second or two. It's not gonna take very long. Just cut this right here, cut this right here, cut this right here. I just make sure I always pay attention when I'm using a knife. And that's why you didn't see me go buck wild when I was poking the, what's the name? Because I ain't trying to kill a motherfucker. But I mean, the pig's already dead. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, then yeah, I would grab it and, you know what I mean? But that's not what's going on here. And you do that the wrong way, you can cut your whole damn hand up. So I think that's enough onions for that. We'll set that to the side. I'll mince those down a little bit more in a minute. You'll see what I mean. I'm gonna cut this off right here and throw in some more onions. But this is a different taste of onions, you guys know. And I use the stalk. So I don't know where you guys are from, but I cut it up to the stalk so it can't go anymore. And you don't have to eat it, of course, but the flavor's still there. So as you guys see, I'm cutting this or whatever. Do I think Jamel Demons, aka YNW Melly, is guilty? Yes, I do. I do. I do. I honestly and truthfully do. That's my answer to that. I think he's guilty. I think circumstantially they wasn't able to convict him, or they couldn't come to conclusion, or it could have been what some people are not answering to or acknowledging. It might have been just out of fear. A lot of people fear this kid. You know what I mean? For different millions reasons. A lot of people make the mistake because somebody is smaller or skinny or appearance to them. They associate that with weakness. Biggest mistake you could ever do. Real gangster know. There was a guy, and sometimes this guy comes over here sometimes. His name was Baby Lane. He was on the east side of Harlem. I never knew Baby Lane. Let me put that on record, all right? But he was a little skinny, pretty boy dude. Like a lot of the gangsters that have been over in Harlem, Bronx, Brooklyn. Well, more so the Bronx and Harlem. East side to be specific. That have been tyrants. By every means of the word. So, do I think that this guy could have done this and orchestrated it perfectly? Why not? He had a song called Murder on My Mind. Well, let's see what happens. I don't want to talk too much about this because I know this has to do with streets and it's very personal to some people, whatever. And if you did do this, I hope that you learn from this situation, sir. And I hope that you're able to achieve what you want to achieve in life sooner than later. All right? So let me say that. If he's not guilty, I don't want to condemn a man that's not guilty. But I'm just saying, based on what I've seen, it looks kind of, yeah. So guys, like I said, these onions don't have to be cut up perfectly. Actually, long cut form is better than minced or diced slowly. And we're just gonna throw this, even though you guys can't see it, I'm pretty sure you're gonna realize it. We're just gonna throw this not only on top of it, excuse me, on top of the shoulder, but we're also gonna throw, or PERNIL, we're also gonna throw this in the water, more importantly. Because as that water evaporates, what's going to happen is it's going to lock in, just like with any other thing, it's convection. It's going to lock in with the rest of this. It's going to taste absolutely wonderful. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to do a follow-up so you guys can see what it looked like in the end. So I know, like, y'all, what are you going to look like? I guarantee you won't be disappointed. If anything, if one thing I know how to do is cook. My mom taught us how to cook. My dad definitely taught us how to cook. This is where I learned this at. So we've always known how to cook. Okay? My ex-girlfriend, she used to get mad at me because she said I was going to make her fat. And I did a little bit. You know what I mean? She gained about a couple pounds on her. I have a high metabolism, so it doesn't work the same for me. But, yeah. Now, another thing I wanted to move on to real quick, because I'm going to make this under an hour. The other thing I want to move on, and that's it, guys. That's all that goes with that. And we're going to turn it on low, and we're going to let that rest for about 8 to 9 hours in the crock pot. All right. So you got your little, what's the name there? Let me wash my hands, and I'm going to pick up this phone, talk to you guys on camera now. Also, let you see inside the pot so you can see what I'm talking about here. Just give me 1 second, because I want to talk about this one particular individual that I couldn't escape, and everybody kept talking about him. And I said, what's the big deal about this guy? I'm sorry, guys. I had to wipe my hands off. Let me get this phone picked back up. Bring this over here. Okay, let's turn this around. There we go. Here I am. All right, so there's this guy named Jason Aldean, right? First of all, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, fuck you and everybody lives in your fucking house, you redneck piece of shit. And I was just talking about the same shit last night. This guy named Jason Aldean, he has a song out. He's a country music singer, and he has a song out called Try That in a Small Town, right? And the song itself, I left in the description box. Also, the link to something I put together of what a particular man said about this is also in there. So you ought to check that out and you understand what I'm talking about. And I know a lot of y'all sitting back going, I don't worry about no country music singer. Let me share this first of all, guys, real quick. And thanks for the likes, guys. I appreciate that. This guy, Jason Aldean, right? This guy wrote a song. It's called Try That in a Small Town. Oh, yeah. Let me let you guys see this real quick so y'all understand what I was talking about there. So that's what the finished game plan should look like right there. You dig? All right. This guy, Jason Aldean, wrote this song called Try This in a Small Town. And in the video, he has all these instances where there's violence or something like that, and it involves either somebody black or Latin specifically. And then, and I mean that for sure. That's why I left the link in there for you guys to see it. Everybody's in those clips. Not one person is white. All the people that the aggressors and seemingly coming after these people, and they put it in depictions or whatever, actual footage, right? Actual footage. All of them happen to be white. Now, this, ironically enough, I lived in a small town for a little while, right here on the Connecticut shoreline. Shout out to NL Connecticut. Love y'all out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. But you know this type of thinking, right? It's a certain point of thinking that comes along with people to think like this, believe it or not. And so when I saw the video, it resonated to me a lot because I said, oh, I see what he means. But then when he got into the lyrics, it was when he got into the lyrics and he was like, try that in a small town. Go click the link and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I started listening more and more to what this guy was saying. And I started saying to myself, yeah, this does sound racist as fuck. Even if the song you wanted to say unilaterally, okay, well, I don't mean it towards a particular type of people or whatever. The depictions that you have in the video say otherwise. So I said to myself, I said, yo, you know what? Let me watch this whole video before I give my opinion. And I watched the whole video, and the whole entire video involved nothing but bashing black and Latin people all throughout it. If you go watch the video that I left in the description box, and also another company video that I put together myself before I started doing this, you'll understand exactly what the fuck I mean. So, the Country Music Channel, they decided to remove the video because they felt the same way. Now, funny enough, here on YouTube, we can't say what we want to say. We can't post certain shit or whatever the case may be. But because this motherfucker's got something around 183 million views or whatever, and how many likes, they allow it to sit. Even though the Country Music Channel, a couple radio stations across the country refuse to play the song itself. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, this is crazy. But then I remember something from my training in the music industry and set forth with me. See, I know these rollout campaigns, and that's what it was. He was probably sitting on this song for probably 2 or 3 years, and they were trying to come out with a marketing plan to execute and actually put out this song and do a rollout. And the reason they would do that is because the pure simple fact, and y'all don't know this, but I'm gonna tell y'all, a lot of times when I'm gonna say we, because I was part of it, when you drop singles, you have an intention behind it, right? And sometimes you know that certain lyrics within the songs could cause controversy. So, you know, either remove the lyrics, dumb down the lyrics, change the lyrics up, switch them up a little bit, go on, so forth, so what, you know what I mean? And so that's usually the temperament, usually when people are doing the rollout nowadays, you know what I mean? Well, back in them days and now today. And so, and that hasn't changed, and I doubt very seriously ever will. And so within that, what happens is you get all the answers you would need based on what the opposing factors are going to ask you, meaning media, meaning advocacy groups that look for people to do racist stuff or whatever. You following me here? You already have answers lined up for them when they come at you, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to come at you. They did it with him. The reason it didn't work was because there's not enough people coming at him of color. Most of the people that are coming at him right now, believe it or not, are white. Now, there's two reasons behind that. One, not too many black people are into country music. Not too many Latinos like that are into country music. Most Latinos, believe it or not, are a lot of them, especially when you get into Mexico, Colombia is another one, El Salvador is another one. They're into rock music. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about the traditional rock that you know. I'm talking about rock. Well, it's sound and semblance, yeah. But as far as the message, the connotations, or whatever the case may be, because some Mexican people get into some dark shit. Santeria, Aldu, Arishu, you know what I mean? Like, it's some real dark shit to go on. So a lot of it has to do with that, too. When I listen to this song, and I listen to it fully, like I said, guys, the link is in the description box. Another link is in there for what a gentleman had to say. I can understand why he think he could get across the radar, but he wouldn't be able to get across the radar for everybody. And they didn't think this out all the way. And I'm going to tell you why they didn't think it out all the way. They prepared themselves to answer questions from white media. They didn't prepare to answer questions from black and Latin media. And that was the problem with Jason Aldean right now. His team was not prepared. I don't know how this is, and I forgot to look to see what company he signed to. And that's bottom of mine. I think it might be BMG or Atlantic, one of the two. I hope it's not Atlantic or BMG, because I work for both of them. My point is, they were a distributor, you understand, for a bad boy. My problem is, it's not exactly what he said, but it was the way he depicted what he said. In one depiction in the video, you'll see what seems to be, to me, the thing that they had, the resurrection, insurrection, or whatever the fuck that shit was back 2 Januaries ago. It's depicted in the video. They take videos from off YouTube that, like, you know, got somebody going in the store stealing something or something like that, very light crimes, and he depicts it like these are major crimes. Now, Jason Aldean, what you fucking should have did and what your team should have told you was, okay, if you're going to say try that in a small town, I need you to throw in a couple of, you know, good old boys that come from those small towns. You know, the dude that did the shooting up in Buffalo, New York, the white guy that sat with those people the day before he did the mass shooting and killed 10 people, including an 86-year-old woman, you punk. He was from a small town right outside of Buffalo, New York. What you'll find in sequential is a lot of these white male mass shooters, they're from small towns, small town rhetoric. I know it very well. I witnessed it, lived by it on the shoreline of Connecticut for years, okay? When you get guys like this, and you ignore them, Jason Aldean, and if you were to throw them in to the video instead of putting your full concentration on blacks and Latinos and then telling them, try that in a small town. Jason, let me tell you something, right? And you might not know this. I don't care how much of a weekend warrior you are or whatever the case may be. You didn't check the connotation of what it actually is. That's a small town. And if I was able to get these motherfuckers to actually go in and be men again, some of them motherfuckers may come check you in your small town. And I guarantee you, with all these switches and AKs and everything else that these kids carry in the city, I think you would change your fucking mind. You understand what I'm saying? Chris Williams, just subscribe. Keep doing your thing, bro. Thank you very much, Chris. This shit is being ignored by so many hip-hop vloggers. And instead, they're talking about YNW Melly. And I had to talk about him, too, because it's a sensational story. But I wanted to have my focus on this more so than anything, because I come from the music industry. And this is not this only example. I'm going to put together a piece for y'all. And I know what I'm going to show y'all and exhibit to y'all have never seen before or never heard before or skipped y'all. Some of your favorite quote-unquote black and Latin vloggers have missed this epic point in history. And I'm going to deliver it to you. Even though you won't do that for me, I'm going to deliver it to you because it's my song to do. You know, I can't get mad at everybody because they want to donate like that or whatever. And if you do, it's $ STRINGERBELL80. But I had to also recognize that a lot of the times when I'm talking to grown adults. You understand what I'm saying? Pass the message to your kids. I've said that for months now. Make sure your kids, I don't have kids, but make sure your kids hear it. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about your grown ass. You should know half of this shit. You understand? Jason Aldean has been able to rise to superstardom. And I see people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, other people that are in that, you know, that limelight of thinking pattern, whatever, where they're walking and muttering the line between being full out racist, bigots, and bias. You understand? This kid's gonna blow. He's gonna blow up. This was a song that made him a hero. And listen to me very carefully. This is going to be the fucking theme song to all these wackos of the Weekend Warriors. All these wackos are like, bang, 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 bring hee-haw back 7 days a week. All them redneck motherfuckers that come off the mountain every weekend or whatever. We got some of them out here in Connecticut, Shelton, Connecticut, up in Hartford, Connecticut. Kid Rock did a concert up there one year. You can look this up. Kid Rock did a concert up there one year, and I think he was just adapting to the environment. He had a huge ass Confederate flag up here in the northern fucking state. You understand what I'm saying? Weird, right? There was a lot of people in attendance. Look that up. Hartford, Connecticut, Kid Rock, Confederate flag on stage. Look it up. You don't believe me, you don't have to believe me. I never try to force people to believe me. Just look it up. So, being that, and then you packed in the fact that I lived down south for a few years of my life, so I know this redneck mentality. Down in Florida, a lot of these good old boys will come into Miami, they'll come into Fort Lauderdale, and they think they can come around and talk shit to the local Cuban community, local Honduran community, local Puerto Rican and Dominican community. And then they find out real quick that they can't. Oh, in the Haitian community too. Let me leave them out. They think they come down there and they talk that shit. So they from, Pembroke, Florida, and all these little small towns. Florida is a lot of small towns more than major cities. And so you'll get these rednecks to come down there, because that's what they are, poor white trash and rednecks. I tried to tell you about them last night, 3 o'clock in the morning. Poor white trash and rednecks. I've been in front of Trump Tower talking about this. I'll share it in the community section again. And I said it in front of white people's face. And you notice, even in the face of cops, nobody had a fucking thing to say to differentiate what I said. Why? Because they know it within their own race. See, all these wahoos that you guys supporting Jason Aldean right now, these are fucking secularists. These are fucking separatists, what do you call this guy? Separatists. And then there's another word for them. Supremacists. Supremacists of the fashion of whatever their culture is concerned with. They want that to be the nonchalant and the high end of it. And every rule and every measure within society or whatever should roll behind those means, because they feel that they are orderly. He says words in the song like, raise the right way. This is what Jason Aldean says. The lyrics go like that. Raise the right way. Try that in a small town. You'll get gunned down. If they had an uncensored version of it, that's how it would go. But he knew, and his team knew, and the record company knew, that Jason Aldean could release this song that way. Why? Because motherfuckers would be in an uproar. And this is what I try to tell you guys all the time. When you're sitting up here and you're doing all this gossiping about hip-hop and who's sleeping with who and who all knew loving hip-hop, you got to dedicate at least 2 days out of the fucking week and talk about something that ain't in the fucking YouTube algorithm. Because that shit is already preordained anyway. You understand what I'm saying? And what you're going to find in those 2 cowards that this is logged off, that's on you. That's on you. I don't talk and hold myself or try to talk all and pontificate unnecessarily. You understand what I'm saying? I'm a college graduate. I don't have to sit around. People that, in my opinion, people that try to pontificate and articulate where it's not needed, they're always, people that are actually intelligent can spot them out the room. Because people that are actually intelligent, they talk very loosely. You understand what I'm saying? So if I'm in a circled room and I hear a whole bunch of motherfuckers sitting around and they're unnecessarily articulating words or articulating sentences or whatever, I'm like, there's the fraud. There's the fraud. And I see a lot of that on y'all YouTube diatribes or whatever. And as I'm sitting here and I'm saying this, it just amazes me that so many people, y'all want to hear the gist and gap of what this guy did. But at the same time, y'all don't want to hear the gist of what y'all should be doing to counter this motherfucker. These people want to kill you, some of these people. You understand what I'm saying? They go up in the woods on the weekend, they shoot, do whatever else they want to do. But you got to understand, this song is a fucking anthem to them. And you're going to have a couple of these wahoos that are going to take that song to the extreme. They're going to play it at some fucking bar in Alabama tonight. They're going to play it in some fucking part of Pembroke, fucking Florida, somewhere in fucking Ohio, somewhere in fucking Texas or whatever. And there's going to be some motherfuckers that actually get inspired and influenced by the song in the wrong way. And that might lead up to something. I want y'all to quote me as saying that right now. So when it happens, if it happens, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen, I mentioned it once again. That's why I can't understand why people don't support me like they should be. If you guys would like to, $STRINGERBELL80. Make sure y'all hit that up right now. Show me some support. I could use it. I'm telling you guys this stuff, not because I want y'all to go in my direction. I'm telling you guys this stuff because I've seen it. Many of y'all have not. 40, I looked at the demographics there. I'm going to put that together too. 46% of my audience comes from the New York City tri-state area. The rest of it is international, 4% here, 5% here, et cetera, across the United States, 2% here, 3%. But 46% of my audience comes from the New York City tri-state. And so when I'm telling you guys, whether it's Jason Aldean or some other wacko, because there's many other ones up like that, just like him. Jason Aldean just got picked by, and I don't know who gave the go on this song, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to come back and do a second report on this too. Because I bet you I know some of the fucking names that gave the okay on this song, and you probably just wasn't paying attention to the lyrics. Because if you were paying attention to the lyrics, you would know automatically, just like his team did, and that's why they had those answers lined up for white media versus black and Latin media. I want to see Jason Aldean sit down with black and Latin media and explain the depictions of how specifically black and Latino men, not even women, men, in the fucking video, depicting them doing the worst things while he's got an anthem playing over top of it, talking about, try that in a small town, you get down, and every word of it ends to, he wanted to say, you'll get gunned down, and instead, somebody in his camp said, no, you can't do that one, that was too far, fall back. This is what I try to tell a lot of Latinos. Don't side with these motherfuckers like that, they're fooling you. They're fooling you. And any older Latinos, they'll tell you the same thing. They're fooling you. Spanish-American fucking war was fought. Y'all ain't had Mexico back yet. And that was in 17? They never gave you back Mexico. Puerto Rico, the Jones-Stafford Act, which made Puerto Rican citizens American citizens. They never pulled out of Vieques. They still over there bombing to this day. The Puerto Rican nationalist movement, they climbed back in, I think it was the 1980s. They climbed to the top of the Statue of Liberty and put the Puerto Rican flag. So those were men that had gumption and balls. You don't have men like that nowadays. A lot of these men are soft. So they let little things skip by them like this, and Jason Aldean and his song, Try That in a Small Town. If y'all want to check it out and just not take my word for it, the links to both videos, one that I produced and put up, and another one to his actual music video, are right in the description box. Go look for yourself. And tell me what you think in the comments section. For anybody that sees this on a rebroadcast or whatever else, it stands what I said to you before, guys. There are a lot of people that are in these secular groups that mean you harm. They may not mean you harm immediately right now, but in the near future they do. And right now, and I want to give a shout out to, I forgot what his name is, Mitch something on his channel. I'm going to link his thing in there too. He did a whole video. This is a white gentleman. He did a whole video, and this is an upscale white gentleman. This is not a redneck. He did a whole video, and he talked about how white nationalists are trying to grab Latinos, specifically white Latinos, and very light-skinned complected Latinos. They don't want anybody that's brown, mestizo, negro, entonces saben la gente. They don't want people like that. They want blanco. And the reason they want blanco, because like if you get into Brazil, you get into a couple of these other areas or whatever, you have colonizers that went in there. You got the Germans, you got the Dutch, you got many other different ethnicities that mix. Even with Latino culture, period, you have the Spanish conquistadors. Spain is an Eastern European country. All right, Spain ain't in this hemisphere. You understand? That's why I said I'll never sit with nobody and they try to tell me about Latin history or whatever. And the only thing you got to say to me, oh, I'm pure of this, I'm pure of that. No, you're fucking not. The conversation's over right when you said that. Right when you said that, the conversation's over. Because if you talk to some old abuela that's educated and she about 80-something years old. Talk to some tia or tío that's about 70, 80 something. And they came from that island to the United States. I guarantee you they'll give you a whole different history about the Latin Caribbean islands. Talk to an old Jamaican lady. Talk to an old Haitian lady or man. They'll give you a whole different depiction of who these people were that built up these colonies, because that's what the fuck they were. They were colonies. It's not complaining, it's telling the truth. It's the history. You can go there. They got plaques for it. They got monuments you can go to. In Puerto Rico right now, you can go visit there, and they have a slave quarters. They used to bring the slaves, and they would mix, and this is how a lot of them got mixed with African. They would bring the slaves, and they would hold them there until they shipped them out, and the port would be Puerto Rico. The port would be another one in Panama. There was another one in Dominican Republic. There was another one in Haiti. They had them all throughout the Caribbean. And they would not just send these people to one specific island. Like, okay, we got a parcel, because that's what it was. It was a parcel of people. They would be like, all right, we're not going to send these 15 all directly to Haiti. We're going to send 5 to Dominican Republic. We'll send 5 over here to Brazil. I heard that Panama, they got some new spices, so we're going to send a couple over there and trade with them. This is how it worked. And as many as shit log and everything else. We have a custom house out in New London where I used to live at. And ironically enough, if you know your history, the Amistad landed in New London, Connecticut. There's a plaque at that custom house to commemorate not only the 2 people that you see depicted in the movie, but also to pay homage to that. The trial itself was held in New Haven, Connecticut. You understand what I'm saying? But that ship docked right there every year, and I've taken y'all there before. We actually have a thing that is called Amistad's Landing. Now, I remember when that area right there, it didn't even have that there, meaning there was no pier there. It was just rocks. And the reason I bring this up is because this gentleman in his diatribe talked about how this particular type of white American is now trying to lure people from other cultures into the assault. And he said the exact words that I said. He says, what they do is they take care of, they want to get rid of one person they consider the enemy. So they use somebody else they consider the enemy. And once that enemy is done, now they take control, and you can either be subservient with that enemy. You could be in line with that enemy that took out your other enemy, or you'll destroy them too. They did the same thing to American Indians. They did the same thing to the Spanish-American War. The Indians, a lot of people, y'all don't sit back and say, oh, I'm mixed with half Indian or whatever, right? A lot of those Indians were in charge of recapturing African Americans after the fucking Emancipation Proclamation was signed. After it was. And they were returning them back to slave masters. You see? And the same thing happened in the Caribbean. They had their own version of it down in the Caribbean. Everybody knows this. If you know anything about the real history of the Caribbean, you're just sitting there, you're talking about, oh, I'm 100% Haitian, I'm 100% this. Nobody in the fucking Caribbean is 100% anything. It's Tainos, Arawaks, and everything else. And when you get to Brazil, the mixture is even deeper. Mexico themselves, a lot of people don't hold homage, and a lot of black Americans, you should. It was Mexico that took in a lot of the slaves when they were running from these night riders and these KKK members. It was Mexico. And there's an island down in Mexico to this day, and they have a celebration every year. I'll share it in the community section so you guys can check it out if you want to. I'll see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure there's something out there about it. But every year, these black Mexicans, they celebrate and commemorate. And they have their own version of Dias de la Muertes and everything else. You got to watch for people like Jason Aldean and the influence that he has. This guy has multi-millions of views right now. And I'm telling y'all, as y'all sitting back wondering and saying, oh my God, YNW MELLY got off and all that crap and all this other stupid stuff that y'all be talking about. We gave high attention to Carly freaking Russell when we all knew she was lying. And we let this slide up under the radar because this motherfucker put this video out 3 days ago. 3 days ago. And YouTube has not removed the video, but us as vloggers, if we say certain shit or whatever the case may be, we get copyright strikes, they want to remove us or whatever the case may be. And this is why I'm telling y'all, the same way y'all hear me talking about this motherfucker, it should be at least 10 of y'all talking about this same motherfucker to show your motherfucking outrage. Because if they think they can get away with this, what's going to happen is it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse as time progresses. And that's all I got to say about that. Guys, make sure y'all hit the like button. And more importantly enough, as I always tell y'all, I need y'all support right now. So make sure y'all hit the Cash App, $STRINGERBELL80. There's also a GoFundMe link there if you guys don't have Cash App. There's also one other thing. There's also PayPal link there too. I re-entered that in so you guys can click that. That's all found in the description box and also in a pinned comment. Support my channel, man. I need you guys right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry for all my long-time viewers that now see me doing lives from in the house or whatever the case may be, and hopefully that'll change, but it's not going to be for a while because it's just like, you know, it is what it is. But what I did right here, why I said this right here, wasn't for the fact to get cash apps out of y'all. It's just to make y'all wake up and rise up and understand something. Y'all living in the matrix, a lot of y'all, as subscribers and as vloggers, or here on YouTube. And they're allowing motherfuckers like Jason Aldean to put up some fucking song like that. But if you put up something and it's two motherfuckers fighting in the video, all of a sudden they ready to flag you. If you curse too much in the video, all of a sudden they ready to flag you, take your channel. All of a sudden, if you a subscriber and you comment and say the wrong thing, they ready to hold your comment. They ready to flag you for your comment or whatever. So y'all better wake the fuck up. This is not 2015. This is not 2010. This is 2023. And the way that people fight is a lot different. And a lot of these folks are getting really, really strategic with the media and how not only they execute and launch songs now, which I'm seeing. And like I said, I'm going to do a follow-up to this because I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to find out a couple things for y'all, report back. More importantly, I want to know who the fuck up at either Atlantic, BMG, or whoever, because I think that's who this motherfucker is signed to. I want to know who pressed the button and said, yeah, we want that single for this fucking cocksucker. That's what I want to know. And Black and Latin people, listen to me very well, especially the men. You have to start supporting each other, men. You're looking very weak. This punk motherfucker that looked like he can't beat his way out of a wet paper bag if you saw him in person, it was bold enough to say this shit. And y'all not paying attention. The links are in the description box. Y'all go check them out. I may or may not be back with y'all later on, but at least we'll do another upload. And make sure, guys, please support the Cash App. I could use it and it helps. I'll talk to you guys later.